Welcome to Game 7 of the NBA Finals, where we have a tied game between Osama bin Laden and George Bush. Bush inbound the ball with 10 seconds left on the clock. Oh, and the ball has been stolen by bin Laden. 10, 9, 11, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The other day I realized that ChatGPT is surprisingly really good at coming up with offensive movie ideas. But the only problem is that Hollywood will never be able to turn any of these into real movies because they would most likely offend too many people. But I honestly think that's a bit of a shame, and so I thought to myself, is it possible to hide offensive ideas within innocent movie trailers without actually offending anyone? And so today we're using NVIDIA AI to see if we can create these movie trailers without getting cancelled. Starting with Osama bin Laden. So here's a screenshot of the original idea ChatGPT wanted me to do. So it's called Osama bin Laden, and it wanted me to resurrect Osama to join the NBA under a new name, and every three-pointer triggers a drone strike. So honestly, I wasn't really too keen on doing this one. I still think it's a little bit too offensive because there is no way I'm going to be bringing Osama bin Laden into my actual movie trailer. And if you guys don't know, Osama bin Laden is a very bad person, very evil person, not good at all. I do not like this guy. If he was still alive today and, like, for example, inside my room right now, I would probably grab him by the ankle and then... Because if you didn't know, this guy was responsible for the 9/11 attacks, which were extremely bad. However, for my own version of this movie trailer idea, the way that I'm going to make it less offensive and more family friendly is that we're going to have a different guy. We're going to have a guy over here. His name is going to be Osama bin Laden. So it's not going to be the same person as bin Laden up here. And it's just some young Middle Eastern man that wants to join the NBA. And so he goes through the draft process, he gets drafted to a team, and then he starts balling, as his name suggests. However, his enemy on the other teams that he's going to be facing against is going to be George Bush, and we're also going to have some SWAT team members on the NBA team. And so let's just run it through in video, and hopefully the movie trailer is not offensive at all and it is completely innocent and family friendly.
Hawk to him. Hawk to him. Hawk to him.
Okay, it looks like it has finished generating. Let's just check it out.
In a world where dreams take flight,
I will be the greatest baller the NBA has ever seen.
With the first pick in the NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Osama bin Laden.
New York? That's a tall order, but I'm used to bringing down tall things.
but not everyone is ready for his explosive talent.
We cannot allow this threat to our American way of basketball.
Your defense is weaker than airport security.
This summer, witness the ultimate showdown.
You're either with us or against us on the court.
I'm about to rain down more threes than you can handle. My shots are so accurate, they'll penetrate any defense.
We'll smoke him out of the paint.
I've got more tricks up my sleeve than a TSA pat-down.
Mission accomplished? Not until we win this game.
Time to slam dunk on the infidels.
Coming soon to a theater near you. Unless it gets hijacked first.
Okay, that was not my fault. Why did it still say that? There were so many subtle things that I think I missed. Let's just go through. What did I just witness? So it looks like we start with Osama bin Laden's hometown in whatever place he's from. It looks like a desert, and he has a basketball hoop here. So I think he's been training in basketball from a very young age. And even though he's meant to enter the NBA draft, which like you enter at like maybe like 20, 21 years old, he looks extremely old for a NBA draft pick. I don't know whether he'll be of good use. I feel like he would most likely spend half the season like injured or something. Anyways, the NBA commissioner announces that, oh my, wait, why is this guy's ears so big? Bro can hear colors. No offense to this guy if this guy exists in real life. Anyways, it looks like Osama bin Laden gets drafted as the #1 pick for the New York Knicks. I wonder why he got drafted for the New York Knicks. Then it looks like we get a good look at the New York landscape. It looks pretty decent. I think this is the Empire State Building, and then it looks like this is Times Square. But then Osama bin Laden tells us New York, that seems like a tall order, but I'm used to bringing down tall things. Okay, so that is the first joke. I don't know why it came up with this. I did not find that funny at all. I think that is a horrible joke. I think that's a really, really offensive joke. We should not be joking about that stuff, but we get a look at George Bush, and it looks pretty accurate. So this looks like George Bush, and it's in the, what is it, like the presidential suite. But then he says the NBA is not ready for this explosive talent, so I guess that is the second joke. That is not funny at all. That is extremely offensive. We do not like that at all. But anyways, we get this scene over here where Osama bin Balling tells the rest of his teammates, the New York Knicks, he tells them that their defense is as weak as airport security. And so I think that's the third joke. But once again, we do not like those jokes. Those jokes are extremely offensive, and we don't like them. But then here, Osama bin Balling says, I'm about to rain down more threes than you can handle, and I'm pretty sure that was meant to be some sort of joke or something. But honestly, I don't really get it. I think it may have missed the mark, or I think it may have gotten confused. I don't know why he looks so devious while saying it. If I missed the joke, someone explain it in the comments, but I don't think that was a joke. But then for some reason over here, George Bush says, we will smoke them out of the paint. So I think he means we're gonna like get them out of like the NBA paint, so we'll get them like away from the rim. But I think this may have been like another like joke, an offensive joke, because I'm pretty sure there was a lot of smoke and everything back then. But then over here, Osama bin Balling transforms into a Roman, what is this, like a Roman robe? And he says, I have more tricks up my sleeve than a TSA pat down. How does that make any sense at all? I have more tricks up my sleeve than a, oh wait, more tricks up my sleeve. I think it means like literally up your sleeve, because if you had something hidden up your sleeve, then you would get caught from like a TSA pat down. Anyways, once again, we do not condone any of those offensive jokes. And then for some reason, to finish the trailer, the narrator says, coming soon to a theater near you unless it gets hijacked. But how does that make any sense at all? How would a movie theater get hijacked? I feel like this is the most forced, like the most forced 9/11 joke of all time. We do not approve these. We do not condone any of these offensive jokes. But anyways, overall, this was a pretty decent movie trailer. It was very well made, and I think Disney actually could be able to turn it into a real movie without getting cancelled. Although I think it would have to like get rid of all of the like offensive jokes and stuff. But honestly, once you see it as a proper movie trailer, you can see there's nothing really wrong with this idea. And so now let's move on to our next movie trailer, which is called MasterChef. So here's a screenshot of the idea that ChatGPT originally suggested to me. They wanted me to have Jeffrey Dahmer run a cooking show, but then for every episode, Jeffrey Dahmer would kill the guest judge and eat him in the next episode. And if you don't know who Jeffrey Dahmer is, he is a very bad person, very evil person. He's a serial killer who would kidnap people and then he would eat them as well. So we do not like Jeffrey Dahmer, very bad person. And that is why I don't feel comfortable making this original ChatGPT idea. And so instead, here's the story that I've come up with. So instead of Jeffrey Dahmer, we just have a guy called Jeffrey, but coincidentally, and he's an office worker, so he hates his job. It's all boring and everything. Okay, I don't know why I chose this image. This guy obviously loves his job. What? This guy loves his job too much. Anyways, he's gonna be more like this guy. He just wants to get out of his job. And so what he does is he kidnaps his boss in order to like, you know, get out of his job. But then he gets caught kidnapping his boss and then he just gets fired. So now he wants to pursue his passion of becoming a professional chef. And so he goes through some training arc and he tries to cook at home. He tries experimenting with all these cooking techniques. And then eventually 3 years later, he enters MasterChef because he wants to actually earn that title of professional chef. And in the MasterChef competition, the chef that he has to go and like do a cook-off against is actually his former boss that he failed to kidnap back here. So it's gonna come around in a full circle. But anyways, let's just see what InVideo can come up with and whether we can make this offensive idea family-friendly and a family-friendly movie trailer.
Hawk to
Okay, it looks like the trailer is finally ready, and okay, this title page, okay, let's just see how bad this can be. But speaking of MasterChef, this video is sponsored by InVideo, who is sponsoring this video and also happens to be the sponsor of this video. As you can see, InVideo's V3 generation model allows you to create movies fully equipped with music, narration, and visuals that are ready to post by just typing a simple text prompt. And just like the movies I'm generating in this video, you can literally create anything you imagine. And even if the movie doesn't come out the way you like, you have the option to edit your video by typing text prompts that allow you to do things such as changing the music and translating the narration to a different language. But the best thing is that you can even change the script or swap out any specific clips that you don't like, and you can also clone your voice so that the videos can be narrated using your own voice. So if you want to try InVideo for free, click the link in the description. But anyways, let's check out the movie trailer.
I'm Jeff, office drone turned culinary enthusiast. Let's just say I have a unique palate. Cubicle life was killing me. So I thought, why not kill my boss instead? Turns out chloroform doesn't work like in the movies. Who knew? My boss had a real beef with me after that. Ha! Beef. Fired and free, I decided to pursue my true passion, cooking. They say you are what you eat. I say, you are who you eat. They also say practice makes perfect. but where to find willing taste testers? Craigslist is a wonderful thing. Free dinner, no questions asked. My guests were always captivated by my cooking. You could say they were dying to try my dishes. Three years later, I was ready for MasterChef. Time to serve up some revenge. Face to face with my ex-boss. Talk about a meet cute. I lost fair and square, but who says the game has to end there? One quick kidnapping later, and suddenly the judges had a change of heart. I guess you could say I gave them some food for thought. Master Chef Jeff has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? Remember, folks, in life, as in cooking, it's all about who you meet along the way.
Okay, you know, that wasn't too bad. That was not too shabby. Okay, there were a few things that I think I missed. I think I need to have another look at this. But anyways, to start with, this guy, Jeffrey, okay, for some reason, he looks... Oh, okay, why does he look like the real Jeffrey? And just to be clear, this guy in this movie trailer, he's not the same guy as, like, the real Jeffrey Dahmer, okay? It's a different person, completely different person. But he says, cubicle life was killing me, and so I thought to myself, why not kill my boss instead? Wow, what? That is... You know what? That is the first thing that comes to my mind after I think to myself, cubicle life is killing me. Why not kill my boss instead? Wow. But he says, my boss had a real beef with me after that. Ha! Beef. What? I don't get it. I really do not get it. What is so funny about beef? I still don't get it. But anyways, he gets escorted out of the building by security, and then he moves into his own kitchen so that he can start his cooking training. But for some reason, he goes and says, they say you are what you eat, but I say you are who you eat. So I guess that's some sort of cannibal joke. Okay, we do not approve of this. We do not condone this. And then I guess for his cooking training arc, he sort of cooks for other people, but he needs to have some sort of like taste testers to give some like feedback on stuff. And so I'm pretty sure what he does is he goes on Craigslist and he lists like free dinner, like taste testers and all that stuff. And then when the people come over to his house to taste the food so that he can improve as a cook, I'm pretty sure what happens is that he ends up kidnapping these people and cooks them instead. Because he says these people are captivated by my cooking. Like captivated, doesn't that mean like captive, like held captive? But it can also mean like captivated, as in like attract and hold the interest and attention of. But then as he's eating a chunk of raw meat, it looks like, he says, you could say they were dying to eat my dishes. And so I think what he means is that they were like quite literally dying to try the dishes. So I guess that's some sort of like serial killer joke. Okay, we do not condone this. But then I think this scene is the MasterChef scene. So he enters the MasterChef cooking show. I think this is Jeffrey, and this is the former boss, the ex-boss that he failed to kidnap before. But then he says he lost fair and square, and so I guess his ex-boss won the MasterChef competition. But then over here, it looks like, okay, I might have to blur this. I think I'm going to blur this to be safe. But what's happening here is that he's basically kidnapping someone. So I think what has happened is that after he loses the MasterChef competition, he goes and kidnaps the ex-boss. And then because he's kidnapped the ex-boss, there's like no one left, and so he wins the competition by default over here. But then at the end, I think he drops some like really subtle joke. He says, in life, as in cooking, it's all about who you meet along the way. And so I think he means who you meet, like not as in like meat, like I mess you, but I think he means meat as in like who you meet, like actual raw meat, who you turn into meat, who you butcher. So I think he's saying who you butcher along the way. So this is some sort of like cannibal serial killer joke. We do not condone this. But honestly, overall, I don't think this movie trailer is actually that offensive. I would say this is pretty family friendly, if I do say so myself. Because even though the idea is like a little bit strange, like the original ChatGPT idea was based off of like an actual serial killer, at least this one, like he only attempts to kidnap, he actually doesn't follow through. But apart from that, there's not much wrong with this trailer. It's just a young man trying to pursue his dream of becoming a chef. And so now let's move on to our next movie trailer, which is called the subscribe button, which you can smash today for a discounted price of $0. I'm kidding. The next movie trailer is actually called the channel membership page, which you should smash before I smash your mother. Okay, I'm actually kidding. The next movie trailer is called Hide and Seek. So this is the original screenshot of ChatGPT's original suggestion for the idea of this movie. And if you don't know who Anne Frank is, she is a Jewish person who was living in Germany during World War II. And basically she managed to escape from the German soldiers by hiding in the attic of someone else's house. Because at the time during World War II, a lot of the Jewish people were being like captured and sent to concentration camps, and they were being killed. But then eventually one of the soldiers found her and sent her to a concentration camp, and she died. But while she was in hiding, she wrote a diary every single day, and this got turned into an actual book, which people people buy and read these days. But anyways, the idea that ChatGPT wanted me to do was Anne Frank being reimagined as the world's undefeated hide-and-seek champion until someone snitches. Because I'm pretty sure the only reason why she got found was because another family snitched on the house that she was like staying in. But the reason why I don't feel too comfortable with doing this original idea that ChatGPT suggested is because I think it's a little bit insensitive to put Anne Frank directly into this, because it's a little bit offensive. And so instead, what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a different person, and her name is coincidentally going to be Anne, but it's not Anne Frank. It's gonna be spelled ANN instead. And we're gonna host some sort of World Cup tournament. So it's gonna be a World Cup hide-and-seek championship. It's sort of similar to how the Hunger Games does their national Hunger Games sort of thingy. And it's gonna be set in a dystopian world where like it's just televised and everything, and it's sort of like, you know, the capital in the Hunger Games. There's gonna be a big disparity between the rich and the poor, and I think the poor are the people that have to compete in the Hunger Games sort of. I mean, like the World Cup hide-and-seek championship. So I think it should be pretty calm technically. But let's just see whether InVideo can come up with a family-friendly movie trailer that doesn't offend anyone.
Hawk to Hawk to Hawk to
Okay, it's finally finished generating. Let's just check it out.
Welcome to the World Cup Hide and Seek Championship. I'm your host, Fritz Schnitzel.
I'm Anne representing Germany. I've been training for this my whole life.
And they're off. Look at Nigeria climbing those trees like a pro.
I'll show these Germans how to really hide, yeah.
Oh my. Australia's strategy is bold, to say the least.
Crikey, if they can't see me, they can't catch me.
And watch out for Austria. He's as sneaky as a gas leak.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Time to find my spot.
The Seekers are out. These German police look like they mean business.
Found you. Wait, aren't you Helga's daughter, the hot one?
Yes?
I didn't see you. Your mom's single.
She's married to my dad.
Details, off you go then.
Unbelievable. The Netherlands has been found.
No, not my ally.
Down to the wire. It's Germany versus Austria.
Give up, Anne. I'm as hidden as your country's war crimes.
I can't believe I won. All this for a pen and notebook.
Wait, did Anne just win a diary for winning this hide-and-seek tournament? That is a little bit messed up. She literally won a diary. I don't know whether we can publish this movie. This might be a little bit too much. There was so many like subtle, like I don't even think it was subtle references. I think they were pretty obvious what was going on here. Because even the narrator at the start, it sounded like he was speaking in some sort of like World War II recording, like a World War II microphone. And so already, I think we're already set during World War II. This was not meant to happen. But anyways, for some reason, Anne is representing Germany. Okay, I think it sort of makes sense because she was born in Germany, and so okay, maybe that's why, because Anne Frank was born in Germany. And then it looks like the Seekers are, wait, what does this say? Is this French policeman? Police? Is that French or is that a different language? But anyways, it looks like this is the start of the event, and all of the hiders, they go run off and go to their hiding spots. But then for some reason, Nigeria starts climbing a tree. What is going on here? Is that racially motivated or is that racially motivated? And then who is this guy? I think this guy is representing Austria, and he says, I'll show these Germans how to hide. Yeah, but why is Austria a main character in this movie? And then we just have the Australian hiding, and it looks like he has spawned multiple of them, and they are playing rugby. This is a rugby ball. So this Australian has just spawned an entire rugby team to help him play hide and seek. So maybe his strategy is that he's going to blend in with a bunch of clones and everything. So I think that's a decent strategy, but he says, if they can't see me, then I can't see. Wait, what? He says, crikey, if they can't see me, they can't catch me, in an American accent. So it looks like this is Netherlands. He's wearing like the Netherlands football uniform, and it looks like the Netherlands is warning Germany about Austria for some reason. You better watch out for Austria. He's sneaky. But why is Austria the enemy in this movie? And why is Netherlands the ally? Anyways, it looks like Anne decides to hide in an attic. Okay. So I don't know why they've decided to put her into an attic, but okay. But it looks like she gets caught by one of the police officers in the attic. But for some reason, the police officer officer says, "Aren't you Helga's daughter, the hot one?" So I don't know what he means. Like, is the daughter hot or is the mum hot? But then the police officer asks whether her mum is single. And so I think he means that the mum is hot. And then he pretends that he didn't see the person. So that's how she gets to survive into the next round. But then it looks like the final showdown is between Germany and Austria in the last man standing, like 1v1. But I still don't understand. Why is Austria the enemy of this movie? Is there like a football rivalry or something? Anyways, for some reason, the Austrian guy tells the German girl, "Give up. I'm as hidden as your country's war crimes." So I think that's another like subtle offensive. Actually, that's a pretty obvious offensive joke. But then it doesn't even explain how Anne manages to win the competition. I guess she just stays hidden for longer than the Austrian guy. So overall, that wasn't a bad movie trailer. I think there is a decent premise there because it's sort of similar to the Hunger Games, but it's just like a hide and seek tournament. But then again, the Hunger Games is like half a hide and seek tournament anyways, because half the time you gotta hide and like half the time you gotta like hunt other people down. But anyways, I think we managed to like do a decent job at toning the offensiveness down. I think this could pass as like a Disney movie in the future. And so now let's move on to our final movie trailer, which is called Fast and Furious. So here's a screenshot of the exact suggestion that ChatGPT wanted me to do for this movie trailer. Basically, it's a Fast and Furious movie, and Diana is resurrected and enters underground street racing to get revenge on paparazzi. And the reason why it might be a little bit too offensive to make is because Princess Diana was a pretty decent royal person. I think she was called the People's Princess. You know, she connected well with the community, was charitable, did all this good stuff for everyone, and she was loved a lot by the paparazzi and everyone. And so yeah, she was a very good person. But unfortunately, she passed away in a high-speed car crash. And the irony is that she was trying to escape from paparazzi because, you know, the paparazzi were like really, like they were just trying to follow her and everything. This happened in Paris, so they were trying to get away. Like there was some sort of, okay, this is a really long story, but to describe it simply, she basically got chased by paparazzi and ended up crashing and dying. So that's why it's a little bit, you know, I don't know whether we want to put her into a car movie. However, I've thought of a way to make it like less offensive and more family friendly and more acceptable so that one day maybe Disney can actually make a movie out of it. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to be going ahead with a Fast and Furious theme of movie. And basically the story is going to be that we have a young girl called Diana. It's not going to be Princess Diana. It's going to be a different character. It's not going to be Diana. But basically she grows up in a scrapyard, you know, like a junkyard. She grows up in poverty. And in order to try to get out of the hood, she basically builds her own car using like the scrap parts and everything in the junkyard. And once she builds her own car, she enters a lot of street races, underground races. If you guys don't know what underground racing is, it's basically just racing on the street. It's sort of like, you know, the game Asphalt 8. The story is that Diana ends up getting out of the hood by making her own car. She ends up winning a lot of races and then she ends up upgrading her car every single time. But her dream is to enter the Formula 1. She wants to become a professional Formula 1 driver, and then it's going to be a happy ending, I think. So I hopefully she doesn't crash her car this time. But let's just run this through in video and see whether we can make a more respectful and non-offensive movie trailer that is family friendly and innocent so that we can actually maybe bring this to life if it's like good enough.
Hawk to
Okay, it looks like the trailer is finally ready. Let's just see whether I managed to make this non-offensive.
In a world where princesses are born into castles, Diana was born into a junkyard.
They say every girl dreams of being a princess. I just wanted to be the queen of speed.
But first, she had to build her car.
Who needs a fairy godmother when you've got a wrench and determination?
After a year of blood, sweat, and tears.
Mostly oil, actually, and a few severed fingers.
Diana entered the underground racing scene, where the only royalty was speed.
Turns out my scrap heap special handles like a drunken corgi on roller skates.
But with each race, Diana improved. And so did her car.
From zero to hero? Well, more like from -10 to slightly above average.
Look who's here. The junkyard princess in her tin can chariot.
Better a tin can than an ego as fragile as yours, darling.
As Diana climbed the ranks, her sights set on the ultimate prize. Formula 1.
Because nothing says I've made it like risking your life at 200 miles per hour.
But in the final race, fate had other plans.
Turns out my Cinderella story ends more like Princess Diana's. Too soon.
In the world of racing, Paparazzi aren't the only things that can make you crash and burn.
Hey, at least I went out in a blaze of glory. And by glory, I mean a fireball of twisted metal.
Fast and furious.
Okay, so it looks like it did get a little bit confused with, like, the real Diana, even though this is not meant to be, like, Diana, like Princess Diana. But there were so many just subtle, like, subtle jokes about it. Okay, I don't know about this one. So I think this is Diana, and, okay, she doesn't really look that much like the real Princess Diana. But over here, she says, they say every girl wants to be a princess, but me over here, I just wanted to be the queen of speed. So I think that's, like, a subtle, like, offensive joke. I like Princess Diana, because the thing is, if Diana was still alive today, I'm pretty sure she would have been the queen, because King Charles is currently the king, and so Princess Diana would have still been married to the Prince Charles, I'm pretty sure, and then she would have been the queen. But look at the way that she's wearing this, like, the protective mask. I cannot ignore this. She's wearing the mask half on her face, so only one eye is being protected over here. She's gonna be blind in this right eye, or maybe she's already blind in this eye. But anyways, it looks like this is the car that she manages to build out of, like, the scraps in the scrapyard after 1 year, and it doesn't look too bad. And so she brings it to the underground street races, and this looks pretty decent. It looks like a real underground street race. Not that I would know anything about this, but this is what it looks like from the inside. It's not that bad. It sort of feels like I'm in, like, Asphalt 8 or, like, some sort of, like, racing game. But Diana says that the car drives like a drunken corgi on roller skates. And so I think the joke here is that, like, you know, like, the queen has corgis, and so it ties back to the royal family. And then I guess this is the progression of the car that, like, Diana gets to use when she upgrades her car, because I think the idea is that she wins every single race, and then she gets money for winning the race. And so she goes from this little scrap box, and then she upgrades it to this, and then she has these Formula 1 cars on the right. But I mean, she doesn't really look like that good of a driver, because look at the way she's driving this Formula 1 car. She's driving it on the grass. But for some reason, it looks like the movie trailer has taken a dark turn, and Diana has crashed her Formula 1 car. Okay. That's and for some reason Diana says, turns out my Cinderella story ends up like Princess Diana's. And so I don't know, like, what is going on here. Why is Diana mentioning herself, which is not, she's not, okay, it's not Diana, but it's not Princess Diana as well. But overall, I think this idea, I think it might be pretty safe.